Hello. Welcome to the Manic Pixie Dream Vlog. I am the host, Caroline Georges. So I've been meaning to do a vlog about this subject for a while, and I've been thinking a lot about it. The Cardi B scandal that happened a little bit ago, and then also the Amber Heard situation that's going on right now with her and Johnny Depp. I've been wanting to talk about that as well. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe I can somehow tie in Jussie Smollett into it, because I think they're all sort of connected. With Cardi B, as a dancer, I really empathize with her. Because stripping, it can feel like war sometimes. It can feel like you're going to war with just, pieces of shit guys, and it's like capture the flag, capture their wallet, you know what I mean? And so it's just but you get desensitized. People who go to war get desensitized. You stop seeing the people who don't see you as a human being as human beings. When people go to war, people do horrible things in war. You hear about, the shit people just, from our side, even in World War II, you hear stories about just, torturing, German POWs and stuff, or, horrible things, you hear about from people. Sorry, I'm really tired, and it's, I just got off work, and I don't know, I've had a lot of coffee, so I'm just gonna do this now. Anywho, American Sniper is a great example. Look at the horrible shit that man did. And he's a hero. So, honestly, I really empathize with Cardi B because she was in a place, she was in a state of mind where she was completely desensitized towards men. And I totally relate to that. I think she's giving, I thought she was a really positive voice for dancers and for sex workers in general at first, and I'm really sad that now she's not that. She actually makes strippers look really bad. They're strippers, most of them are honest, hardworking women who really, many of them form really positive relationships with their clients. Many of them, are really just hardworking women who are doing their job to the best of their abilities, and they're not out there drugging people and stealing their wallets. So I'm really sad that now Cardi B isn't a positive voice for strippers, and she's not a positive, voice for me anymore, because of her actions. But her state of mind is that she was, on a battleground. She was on a battlefield trying to get money. And she, really stated that she was trying to survive. She was surviving, and that was how she was surviving. The situation with that, to recap, Cardi B roofied men. And she, and so one of the men has come forward, and he says that he has, that he was raped by her, or that he was unconscious while they had sex, which I find that hard to believe, and I'll tell you why. Not hard, I'll be honest, I think it's science that it's hard to believe, because if you're a guy, just do this experiment. Don't do it, but imagine, hypothetically, do this experiment. Do half a gram of Coke, drink 4 alcoholic beverages or enough to get drunk, and then put 3 Xanaxes into your drink, into a 5th drink, and drink that. If you haven't died, then you're not gonna you're not gonna get a boner. You know what I mean? You're not gonna get it up. I just find it unlikely that this man, under the amount of drugs and alcohol, and on top of that, a roofie, I just find it hard to believe that he would be able to be erect after that. Yeah. But, sorry, that's just what I think. I think it's science that proves Cardi B is innocent. And, but I mean, I think the purpose of drugging them was not just to rob them. I think it was to make them totally immobile so she wouldn't have to have sex with them. And I think that's probably part of it. So let's acknowledge that. I really highly doubt that sex occurred when she when she committed this crime. I don't believe she sexually assaulted anyone. I find it hard to believe. I don't know. I wasn't there. Thank God. And but I feel sad for the man that that his iPod was stolen. That's horrible. Anyways, but I guess I just, with the Amber Heard situation, God, fuck, like, I really hope that Johnny Depp is really just this gigantic piece of shit, and he is just so, obsessed with his good guy image, and that he is willing to stop at nothing to preserve that, including stomp all over his poor, abused 30-year-old wife, ex-wife. And, I really hope that that's the situation, honestly, because, with the Jussie Smollett thing and stuff, I mean, these movements are really important to people. And the good name and the good image of these movements are really important to people. And I think it's so great that Chris Rock and so many other Black actors and actresses and filmmakers and people in the industry have come out against him and have really shit on him and have really made that clear, so that, this man does not represent us. This man is, we do not claim this man. Whatever he did was so fucking wrong. And I think that that's great. And I think that the Black Lives Matter movement and the anti-Trump movements, sorry, I try not to get too political with these, but I'm glad that the anti-hatred movement are absolved of that man and what he did, which is horrible. I think it's so, my eyes rolled to the back of my head and to, all the way down my spine and then back up into my face again, for me to just get my response when people call themselves narcissists or sociopaths. Because it's like, if you're a narcissist or a sociopath, you know what you're doing? You're paying two men to beat you up for attention. That's what you're doing if you're a narcissist. That's what you're doing if you're a sociopath. That's the kind of person you are. That's the kind of piece of shit you are. But I actually don't think, I do think that narcissism and sociopathy are personality disorders in a way, but I do think Jussie Smollett has some kind of a personality disorder aside from narcissism, because that drive for attention is, is pretty connected to people with personality disorders, kind of like, Rachel Dolezal, who clearly had a personality disorder, which, people with personality disorders, they'll dye their hair rainbow, and, they'll dramatically change their appearance. They'll, that's a big symptom of it. But then also they'll lie for attention. So I think that Jussie Smollett definitely has some kind of a personality disorder that served him, creatively, but then also went downwards. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not a therapist. I'm just a person with an opinion that my personal opinion is that Jussie Smollett has a personality disorder. of some kind. Or he's a narcissist. Either or. But with Amber Heard, women, while men are kind of, their shtick is that they're violent or they're rapists and stuff. Women is that they're manipulative and liars and basically the worst kind of woman is the woman that Amber Heard is being accused of being by Johnny Depp. If the allegations are true, Amber Heard is the epitome of a terrible woman. She is the antithesis of what a bad woman is. She's a liar. She's a manipulator. She's somebody she's vindictive. And, for the sake of women and for the sake of victims, I really, really, really hope Johnny Depp is a piece of shit. Is really just a huge piece of shit. But if it's true, if he's telling the truth, which honestly, it seems so strange to me that he would be coming out with this now, like 2 years later. And I'm really interested as this whole thing unfolds. He says he submitted 87 videos, surveillance videos of her assaulting him. 87 different surveillance videos of Amber Heard assaulting Johnny Depp. That is 87 times that she would have assaulted him in public. If Johnny Depp is telling the truth. And so, I don't know. I mean, Johnny Depp was really kind of fucked up for a while, and maybe he just wasn't, with drugs and alcohol in the lot, he wasn't in a place to really defend himself against these kinds of allegations or to really handle that situation in an intelligent way. Or maybe just they were building a case against her and this was the plan all along or something. But I really, really, really hope it just turns out that Johnny Depp is a horrible man and who does drugs and hits his wife. I really hope that that's the situation. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really, really, really hope that Johnny Depp is a wife beater. And that I pray to Jesus that Johnny Depp is actually a wife beater. As much as I love Johnny Depp as an actor, I really hope he's a wife beater. And I really hope that Amber Heard is not. Or, but I don't know, what would that mean to women? I think that if Johnny Depp is telling the truth, then I think that the response from women should be the same response the Black community had against Jussie Smollett. I think all women should respond in the same way towards Amber Heard, and to just completely reject her and to just close our eyes to her, turn our backs on her, and never go see another one of her movies ever again, and not support her career ever again. In her op-ed, and I read it, and she said after the whole abuse allegations came out, she lost a movie role she was attached to, which happens all the time, by the way. So when she mentioned that she lost a movie role because of the abuse allegations against Johnny Depp and that whole situation, people get fired from films all the time. Like, the director preferred somebody else, the person that was the first choice ends up as they're available, or they do the screen test or something like that, and it's like she wasn't right. I mean, there's a lot of reasons somebody can be replaced for a role. Besides, she was beaten up by her husband, well, I guess we should fire her. But she also said that she lost some sort of a beauty campaign that she was attached to. again, people get fired from those things all the time for different reasons. It happens a lot. So, I mean, her saying it was because of abuse, just sounds kind of strange to me that would, but then again, abuse, does make women pariahs. People don't know how to, people don't understand it. People don't know how to handle it. So people just sort of respond to it by just turning their eyes on the victim, closing their eyes to the victim, turning their backs on the victim. Hear no evil, see no evil, whatever. Because abuse is a demon. It is. Like, if you are abused, abuse is a demonic thing. It is. It's just, all kinds of abuse are demonic. Like emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. That's some kind of a curse that you have to live with for the rest of your life. And people, I really cannot stand that whole, good vibes only slogan. Because I think that's just, if you're going to live by that slogan, then you're going to have to reject rape victims. Because rape victims don't have good vibes. They're not going to have good vibes for you. Sexual assault victims, physical abuse victims, domestic violence abuse victims aren't going to have good vibes. Probably for a long time, until they've gotten the healing that they need to move on from it and to release that. And so which is why I really cannot fucking stand that slogan, because it's just like, I know I have bad vibes because of shit I go through at work sometimes, or just this, the struggles I have with dealing with, my experiences with abuse. I just know that I just don't always have good vibes. I'm not always there. And so I choose to isolate. That's how I deal with it. When I have bad vibes, I stay home, and I don't, I choose not to be around people. Which is fair, and I think it's fine. But I am kind of going through something right now, a conflict. Like I mentioned before, I was sexually assaulted by, it's a really confusing situation. I reported it to the police. It's reported as indecent. What is it? It's God, I forget what it is, but it's reported as sexual battery, but he just touched my breast, and and then he was touching himself to me, after I repeatedly told him to stop, and I was really upset and stuff, and he was just staring at me and touching himself, and it was really awful, and I cried, and he got pissed off. He slammed the door to my bathroom and finished in my bathroom, and I was crying, and he came back out and he called me crazy, and he was like, "Oh, you're so crazy," and it was really awful. It was a nightmare. It was a really horrible day. It was a really, really horrible time spent with that person, and my response, my response, it was it's always been. I've always just kind of being abused, gotta make it work, that's always been my response to it. And it's common. Lots of women are like that, and I don't know, it makes it, if I really was being abused, then why was I trying to be cool with him, and it's just, I don't know. I just have really low self-esteem, and I want people to like me, even if they're sexually assaulting me. I don't know. Anywho, what was I saying? So I was sexually assaulted by this guy, and then, and he was a guest on my podcast, and I don't know, I'm debating naming him. there's a a female comedian Facebook group. I was talking to this girl in an open mic about it, and she was like, you need to just go and name him, post a photo of him, and just tell everybody about this guy. And so I'm like, oh, okay, that's an idea. And then but I don't know really how to respond to it, because I don't have any evidence. It happened all behind closed doors. There was no cameras running. I have no evidence, like no physical evidence, just my word against his. All he has to do is deny it and just say I made it up, or I'm crazy. All he has to do is say that to the police, and there's nothing they can do. Yep. So, and, yeah, that's how it is. That's how sexual assault works. It's really freaky and unfortunate, that's how it works. But that's why the Me Too movement is so important, and why pushing the Me Too movement forward is so important. Because, and maybe why, I mean, I don't like, again, the Believe Victims slogan, because if a woman is a victim, is in fact a victim, then who would not believe her? But there are women out there. I mean, just because a woman is a woman doesn't mean she can't be evil. I know I have darkness in me. I know I have some evil in me. I know I can be a real piece of shit sometimes. So I don't put it past women to lie and to say things happened that weren't true for whatever justifications that they have for it. I don't put it past anyone, men or women, but I don't think that women are inherently good and angelic because they're women. I think, I read Gone Girl, and I've seen the movie, and it was great, and I think that Amy is a real person. And she can exist in this world, and I related to her. I related to Amy in Gone Girl. I totally get why she was pissed off. And, and the book really goes into it really better. When you're in her mind, you really kind of understand her better, why she would justify, the book is pretty allegorical about, about false rape claims. And that it is even a plot piece in the story. She falsely accuses a man of rape because she doesn't feel like he lived up to her needs when she lived up to his. And so anyways, it's a great book. It's a great movie, but still the point is women can be evil, and Amber Heard can very well be evil. And because Harvey Weinstein is evil, and Clark Gable is evil, and lots of great, and Johnny Depp might very well be evil, and their abuse happened on both ends and on both sides, and they were both abusive towards each other, and it was just this like fucked up drug-fueled marriage that lasted less than a year and ended in a fiery storm of domestic violence and suffering. But anyways, what I'm struggling with now is I have a friend. Well, I had this girl who's a comedian in the comedy scene. She and I connected, and we haven't really stayed in touch or anything like that, but she knew. I talked to her, at length about what happened to me, and with this comedian. And I confided with her, during the time after, kind of directly after it happened, I confided in her about the whole situation. And she really empathized with me and felt really bad for me. At least, it was over text, so, but that was what I was feeling from her. She was just she was somebody that I could talk to about it, and I did. And then, so she's been working on her shit, and she's been, you know, getting booked on shows at comedy venues. And so I saw she was in a lineup with the same guy who sexually assaulted me in my apartment. And so here's my first thought, was that she could talk to him and maybe try and get him to say something. And I could connect her with the detective who is working on my case. And the detective could coach her, because the detective wanted to do that with me. She wanted me to call the guy and confront him and get him to say something. And I didn't want to do that. I thought about it for a week, like trying to get myself pumped up to do it. And but I was too cowardly, I guess, and I just or I just didn't. Like, I'd rather he just get away with it than me having to talk to him again. That was sort of my feeling. And, anyways, but I thought, oh, like, this girl, she could go up to him and be like, oh, I heard about Caroline, you know, accusing you of that and stuff. I don't know. Like, that was literally, maybe that's crazy. That's probably crazy. Well, I mean, but still, I mean, like, I could connect her with the detective, and the detective could coach her. And that was, and so I asked her if she would do that, and she was like, no, I'm going to stay out of it. And then so I thought, okay, well, I guess that's fair. I mean, that might be asking a lot from someone, but at the time, this woman says she's a feminist and says she's for victims, and I don't know, like, I mean, I feel like if a girl who was sexually assaulted by a man who wasn't getting justice asked me to help her with that, I would be there in a second to do that for her. I would love to help somebody get justice if they were sexually assaulted or something like what happened to me happened to them. I would love to get in there and help them. And I don't know, I just, I thought this girl would want to help me. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know, I'm so sexy. But she said no. And then I don't know, I was sort of disappointed, I guess. And even though maybe I was asking her for a lot, because this was my chance to really get him, you know? And, and she said no, I was disappointed. And then I asked her, well, are you still going to do the show with him? You know, because her response was, what happened to you was so horrible. That's so horrible. I'm sorry. That's terrible. And it's like, is it? Is it really so horrible? If it's so horrible, then how are you going to be in the green room with that piece of shit who does horrible things to women? You know, is it so horrible what he did to me? Like, I guess if it's so horrible, then why not say, I'm sorry, I cannot be in a lineup with this man. He sexually assaulted somebody I know. I don't know. Isn't that a good excuse? Like, isn't that a good reason to tell, like, a comedy club owner why, or a comedy booker, why you can't work with someone because they sexually assaulted someone? Like, I mean, isn't that justifiable? And wouldn't a comedy booker understand a woman who's a feminist and an advocate for other women not wanting to do a show with another comedian because the comedian not only sexually assaulted someone, but sexually assaulted somebody that she fucking knew? And, so again, I was disappointed. And yes, I was a little disappointed. And, but maybe but her response was this. This was her response. She said, if I refuse to work with every piece of shit comedian, I would never work. And what is going on in the comedy scene that if you refuse to work with all sexual assailants who are comedians, you would never work? Is that true? Is that fucking true? That you can't work in this industry if you refuse to work with sexual assailants? With sexual predators? Is that fucking true? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe she said that. So, I don't know. I don't think that that's true. I don't think that every lineup at any comedy venue would have at least one man who sexually assaulted a woman or was sexually predatory towards a woman. I really don't believe that's true. And if that's true, then fuck the world. This is horrible. And I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say about that. I really don't know what to do about that. I'm at a loss if that's true. I believe that what David Murphy did was sexually predatory. I believe he did it knowing I was weak and knowing I would fall for it. The things he said, the things he did that day were horrible. That's true. And I think, I guess the only justice I can get for myself is to name him. He's a piece of shit. He took advantage of someone who trusted him. And his name is David Murphy. He's a comedian in Los Angeles, and I reported him to the cops for touching my breast, for putting his hand in the elastic of my leggings, and for touching himself over his basketball shorts to me after I repeatedly told him to stop, and I was fucking crying. So there's a lot that goes into, I could say a lot more about that situation, but those are the three worst things. He also grabbed my face and he tried pulling my face down towards him to kiss him. It was horrible. It was really horrible. And he's never been sorry. He's never apologized. He's never, and honestly, I thought for a while, that's all I wanted and that's all I needed. If he would just tell me he was fucking sorry, maybe that would make me feel better. But he's not fucking sorry because if he was fucking sorry, then he would tell the cops what happened when they investigated, and he would be on the sex offender website by now. That's where he belongs. He needs to be on the sex offender website so that people can check their neighborhoods for him. So people will know not to be alone with this guy in their homes. Because he does this. He preys on weak women. Why would you want to work with that person? Why would you want to book that person? I don't know. He's not that funny. Anyways. I don't know how to feel about that girl. I'm kind of pissed at her, I'll be honest. I'm kind of angry with her. I think she's kind of a coward. And I think that I wish she stood up for me. I really wish she had stood up for me. I asked her to stand up for me and she said no. And I'm angry with her. And I don't know if I'm justified in that. I don't know if I'm right in that. I don't know but I'm angry at her for not standing up for me when I asked her to. And, yeah. Well, anyways, that is my little podcast, or my little vlog for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a really lovely day today. Bye.